everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Lion Collectibles. It is Friday, so it's our fight picks and card show. First one of the new year, 2023. It has been a long couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I believe, that we've had to wait for the UFC to start, at least for a guy like me who loves watching them every weekend. Obviously, it was the holidays, and so a good thing that all the fighters and everybody in the business got to enjoy that with their families. I know I did. I hope you did as well. But I don't think I'm alone when I say that I am happy that there is finally a new UFC card to watch this weekend. It is UFC Fight Night 217. Imavov versus Strickland now. It was supposed to be Imavov versus Gastelum, but Gastelum has a nasty staph infection and something wrong with his tooth. Sean Strickland, who we're actually going to talk about in our recap of the last fight night, didn't come out of his last fight with any major injuries, and so he stepped in, which is not surprising for the type of guy he is. Extremely tough and ready to step in and try to erase his prior loss. So before we jump into UFC 217, Fight Night 217, let's go ahead and recap how we did on the last card, which was a fight night, Strickland versus Cannonier. Okay, so heading into that last fight card of the year, Strickland versus Cannonier. Remember, we were 12 and 14. We were making less picks, just trying to get to 500, and we did it. We got to 500 on the last fight card of the year, which makes me real happy heading into 2023. So let's go ahead and check out the results. So in the first fight of the night, it was Cody Brundage versus Michael Alexijuk. And the fight went how we said it would. Alexijuk, a potent striker. If he can touch somebody and hurt them early before he gets gassed out, he's super dangerous. Brundage, awesome grappler, prolific on the ground, but can be touched. A little bit of a slower guy, and that is exactly what happened. Alexijuk landed some big punches early, was able to knock Brundage down and ended up getting the KO. So we started off the night right. Wasn't a fight pick, but we called that one right. Second fight of the night, Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green was putting on a masterclass of elusive striking. He was really tagging Drew Dober up a lot, in my opinion. And I thought he was cruising on his way to a decision. And then, boom, Drew Dober stepped in, landed a big punch, and stopped the fight over Bobby Green. So I thought it was a great fight. We got the wrong pick on it. But again, it wasn't one of our main fight picks, so it is what it is. Moving on to Alex Saraces versus Julian Rosa. That was our first fight that we picked of the night, and it went awesomely for us. Not exactly how I thought it might. I thought maybe Saraces was going to win a decision, outpoint him. He landed a really well-disguised head kick that knocked Julian Rosa out, so that was really, really great. That bought us to 13 and 14. Then we had a real prospect showing in Amir Albazi over Alessandro, I forget his last name, but it was all about Albazi, obviously. Albazi, undefeated in the UFC heading into that, just looked really, really good. Press striking, good grappling. He's someone to watch in 2023. In the co-main event, we picked it wrong. We had the possibility of Damir Ismagulov beating Arman Tsarukyan in what I thought was going to be the best fight of the night. It was a really competitive fight, but Arman Tsarukyan showed the type of prospect he is. He definitely won that fight hands down, 30-27. Damir put up a good, decent fight early, but Arman used really, really strong grappling to just take control of the fight. Again, another guy going to be really, really exciting to watch in 2023. Then in the main event, we had the Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. It was our second pick of the night. We picked Jared Cannonier. He ended up getting it done, albeit by a split decision. Really, really close fight back and forth. I agree with the decision. I thought he won. It was a little bit of the Matador versus the Bull, right? Strickland has a really cool kind of Philly shell striking stance. He kind of holds tight, throws real quick little punches that don't have a lot of power on him, and then uses those to disguise his power punches. Similar to Nate and Nick Diaz type fight style, but I don't think he was aggressive enough or threw as enough heavy punches that he needed to do. Whereas Jared Cannonier, straightforward, kind of Muay Thai striker, landed some elbows, landed punches, landed a bunch of kicks, and I just feel that diverse striking array is what really kind of showed that he was doing more in the fight. He ended up getting the split decision, and that was really, really, really good for us. So we ended the year 14 and 14 at 500. Of course, we want that to be, way more in the winning category, but we'll take it to get back even and start 2023 fresh. All right, so this weekend, UFC 217, Imavov versus Strickland. First fight card of the year. Super excited. Let's go ahead and start off with the five-fight main card here. It is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Ronnie Barcelos, and they are giving us a great start to the year, at least for the main card. This is a very tough matchup. Ronnie Barcelos has been in the UFC for quite some time, and he's actually has some pretty big upsets. He's got wins over Said Nurmagomedov himself, Khalid Taha, who's another really big, who's another big prospect in the division, and he just got a win over Trevor Jones. He did have a 2-fight losing streak there, which was kind of odd, to Timur Valiev and Victor Henry. That was a big surprise. Then you got Umar Nurmagomedov, who's probably one of the most exciting prospects. Obviously, he comes from that Dagestani Russian camp, and he is related to Khabib Nurmagomedov himself. There's a lot of talk that his fight style is going to be different as he progresses. You start to see a lot of these Dagestani fighters almost show like a kickboxing or a taekwondo type fight style. A lot of spinning kicks, a lot of kind of creative kick styles, and Umar's kind of that, right? Their camp thinks he's the next evolution of the Khabib, of the Islam. So super excited, but this is not an easy fight for him. This is definitely the fight that they are trying to, the barometer fight to see how good he is, because Ronnie Barcelos is no slouch and is a guy that for a second before he had those 2 fights that he lost, I thought could be a championship contender. So super excited to see this fight, but undoubtedly, we got to go with Umar. I just think strong, heavy grappling. The Timur Valiev, who beat Ronnie Barcelos, used it through grappling, right? And so I just think Umar should be able to use his grappling there. He's going to get the respect of the striking on the feet because he's going to have some kind of creative type strikes. Super excited just to see what this guy's career can be. Or, the other way you could look at it is that he is a huge favorite. I think he's like a minus 1,000 right now. Ronnie Barcelos, in this type of fight, if there was anybody that had a chance for a huge upset like that, Ronnie Barcelos is the guy that could do it. So if you want to get a little bit exciting and go against the grain, I would go on this one. But in my opinion, I think Umar is going to be the guy to win. No fight cards for Umar yet. I'm sorry, no fight cards for Ronnie as of yet in any of the sets. But Umar is the next big prospect. So I got 2 to show you. First one is his rookie out of 2022 Select. This is called an Orange Flash. So it's not numbered, and it's not super rare, but it is kind of a hit card in retail packs. They actually sell for a decent amount, $5 or $6. And then he's obviously a rookie here. He's got that Khabib, or I'm not sure exactly what traditional hat that is, but he does wear that to kind of as an homage to Khabib. So this is a really cool card of his. Then I got one that I wasn't sure on showing. I am in the process of editing our last PSA video, but I figured I'd show it now since I am going to give the pick on him. This is a PSA Gem Mint 10, baby, of his 2022 Select Octagon side card here, and it is a silver disco. So super beautiful card here. Something that's going to sit in my collection for a while, especially as he starts to climb. It's not numbered. These come out of the H2 Select hobby boxes. I have a few of them on Whatnot if anybody wants to rip them. I think they're cool. They are hit or miss, but I just think this is awesome, and it came back with a Gem Mint 10. Next fight up, it's in the women's division. It is Caitlin Vieira versus Raquel Rocky Pennington. Another really tough banger fight, right? Raquel Pennington, back in the day, did challenge for the title. She was unsuccessful. Not a super creative striker or grappler. She's kind of a well-rounded girl for the division, but she is tough as nails and has proven time and time again that she is at the top, right? She is continually beaten up-and-coming contenders, falls short on some of her bigger fights, but she's strong and can hit hard. She can wrestle. She can really do it all. Then you got Caitlin Vieira on the other side, who just coming off a pretty big split decision win over Holly Holm. Another big girl for the division, can throw strikes, can do the grappling side of it. She also got a win over Misha Tate. So she is another really top contender fight, and this is just some veterans of division coming and colliding here. I'm not quite sure who's going to win in this one. There's an interesting thing, and my buddy Coast125 can probably back me up here. There is I believe a phenomenon. I don't have the exact number on it, but for fighters who are fighting prior to having a child typically win, or they're a higher percentage of them winning. So, chat can keep me honest on that. But Raquel Pennington is due to have a child with a wife or her partner, Tisha Torres, another UFC fighter. They are having a baby. And so, the kind of idea behind that is that when you got a child on the way, you have something a little bit more to fight for. So if I had to pick anybody, I would pick Raquel Pennington in this one. And I think it goes to a decision. Both of these girls do have finishing ability in them, but women's fights lately have been going to decision. So I'd say Raquel Pennington by decision. I got cards for each of them. So Caitlin Vera has a couple different cards in here. This is her Select 22 card. It is a premier level, so a little bit more rare than the base. But this is a card of her raising her hands. Kind of a cool card of her. This is her Optic, so a new set that dropped recently. The Optic, obviously I pulled the 101 Patty. So this is her Optic base card. Don't have much of her. I have one card of Rocky Pennington. This is her Optic card. Nice card of her smiling. So nothing too crazy from them, but I'm going to go with the soon-to-be mother, Raquel Pennington. I keep trying to say Raquel Pennington to get the win here. Next fight up on the card is Coconut Bombs. Punahele Soriano going against Roman Kapilov. Admittedly, I don't know a ton about Kapilov. I believe he had a little bit of a rough early UFC stint, but did come back with a big win on his last fight. From what I've kind of researched on him, he's a grappler. He can strike. He's kind of a well-rounded guy. But truthfully, I don't know a ton about him. That's okay, because short of being someone who I knew had a chance to beat Punahele, I'm going to go with Punahele Soriano Coconut Bombs here. The guy's got striking ability and power in his hands. Coconut Bombs is not a nickname for nothing. He's kind of, I feel like, in the UFC hitting his stride. He's getting comfortable, and he's good at pacing. He's good at distance. He can kind of do it all. So I got him winning by hopefully a KO in this fight. That's where I would go with him. No cards for either one of these guys at this point, so we'll move on to the next fight. You do have Dan Ige in the co-main event, another Hawaiian going against Damon Jackson. This one, really, really close and hard to pick in my opinion, or a trap fight. People will look at Dan Ige and say, well, he's had some trouble in his last fights. He's lost a few of his different fights. Damon Jackson, on the other hand, kind of has a trajectory that seems to be going up. And so heading into 2023, Damon Jackson's got a lot of momentum behind him, and you might be tempted to pick Damon Jackson. However, what I would believe is that Dan Ige has a way stronger strength of schedule in his fighting history. He's fought the likes of Calvin Kattar, Edson Barboza. He's fought Chan Sung Jun, Josh Emmett, Mosvar Evelev. Like, the guy has been fighting the top of the division. Damon Jackson, on the other hand, does not have anywhere near the fight history as him. Pat Sabatini was his last big fight, which was a good win for him because Sabatini was kind of an up-and-coming guy. Dan Argueta, Camilla Kirk, and Charles Rosa. So, and then he did lose to Ilya Topuria, got KO'd, right? So, really, really different strength of schedule there. And so, yes, momentum is riding behind Damon Jackson, but I'm going to go with Dan Ige here. I just think he's going to get it done. He's been in there with the better fighters, and I think he can get it done, maybe by a decision. There's no cards for Damon Jackson. Only have one for Dan Ige. This is his Don Russ, so not an Optic, but he's a Don Russ. Kind of a cool picture of him throwing a big punch. Not numbered, right? So don't have a ton of Dan Ige, but this is something that's nice for him. Also, fun bet. If you want to do one tomorrow night or tomorrow, go with the Hawaiians, Punahele Soriano and Dan Ige. That's a great little parlay. The Hawaiian parlay. Shout out to my boy B-Lo. I'll be jumping on that, and hopefully we get a win there. That brings us to our final pick, the main event fight. It is Sean Strickland stepping in on late notice within a week to fight Nassourdine Imavov. This fight's being fought at light heavyweight since Sean Strickland stepping in at short notice, which I think is better for both fighters. Imavov, again, a guy that's up and coming. He is French, and he has looked really, really good, most recently coming off a win over Joaquin Buckley. He's fighting Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, we talked a lot about him on the last card. Really, really tough, rangy veteran. Only 2 losses in the UFC, 2 big names, right? To the KO to Alex Pereira, and then he just lost to Jared Cannonier. Striker, rangy striker, and really tough is Sean Strickland. Then you got Nassourdine. Nassourdine, I think he's got some really big striking power in both punches and legs. He's a big guy for the division. He's 6'3", and I just think he's really well built for this size. And coming in without having to cut any weight, I think is going to help him as well. Sean Strickland is now the betting favorite, which you typically don't see a short notice replacement coming in and now becoming the favorite. The odds, I believe, are a little bit closer now, almost to even. But that's got to be based on Sean Strickland's history in the UFC, right? Like, he was on his way to a title shot. If he would have beat Alex Pereira, he would have been the man fighting Izzy. Obviously, Jared Cannonier is another really big name. It was super close. Imavov, on the other hand, just has not fought in that level of competition. He's just not there. He hasn't had enough time. He did get a nice win over Edmund Shabazian and Ian Heinisch. Again, tough guys, but not Jared Cannonier, not Alex Pereira. So I think that's the reason for the line. In my opinion, though, I think Imavov, is the Imavov is the guy to go, the pick to go here. Sorry for stumbling. He's the pick to go here. I think this is a dangerous fight for Sean Strickland. I think he's trying to do what a lot of fighters do, which is, hey, I lost that last fight. It was really close. I'm not hurt. Let me hurry up and get in there, right? We know that getting fights in the UFC is tough, and so you got to kind of take the opportunities that you have available to you. But that kind of momentum, yes, he may be mentally strong. We don't really know, but are you, do you feel like your back's against the wall? Do you perform in a way where that drives you to do really well, or do you climb up? Do you stay in the same fight style that I believe lost him the fight in Cannonier, which is trying to do a point fighting and then suddenly you're down? Like, I just don't really know where Strickland's head's at, and so in my opinion, he's got more going against him than just, on the back of 2 losses. He's got short notice. It's over the holiday weekend. Over the holiday 3 weeks where he was probably relaxing. Maybe he wasn't and stayed in the gym, but I don't know. I think this is a trap fight for him, and I think Imavov, the bigger, rangier striker with a lot of momentum behind him, is probably going to pick up the fight, in my opinion. No cards for Imavov. He's too new. We already showed you a few of these, but I'll just show them again. These are my better cards. This is Sean Strickland out of 199 in his Chronicle base. This is a red one there. 75 cents is my little pick there. Nothing too big on him. Then I have Sean Strickland. This is his red disco select here out of 2022, and that is numbered out of 52 out of 99. So again, not too expensive cards here, but these are nice. They're cool to hold, and if he can win and get to a title shot, maybe they'd be worth something. All right, so those are our picks for this fight. Where we're leaning, right? We got to make a couple picks here. So I'm going to start off with 3 this year. We've been only doing 2 because we wanted to even up the score. We are even. So let's start off with 3 going into the new year. So start of the fight card is going to be our first pick. We're going with Umar Nurmagomedov. I think he's just the big prospect. He's got all the tools that you need. And has a little bit more of a dangerous striking, at least from what we've seen. So I think, he should get this win over Roney. Tough fight for him, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost that one, but I don't want to just pick the easy ones. This one looks like an easy one, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a back-and-forth battle, I think, unless Umar blows him away. So he'll be our first fight. Then we're going to go with Rocky Pennington over Caitlin Vieira. I think that one's going to happen by decision. It's not going to be a fight pick for us, but that's where I would lean if I was leaning somewhere. Good luck to both women. Then we got Punahele Soriano, Coconut Bombs, going against Roman Kapilov. Not going to pick anyone in that one either for our official picks, but I do think Punahele is going to win. I see a KO in his future. Then we're going to go with Dan Ige over Damon Jackson. That's going to be our second pick of the fight card. Going with Dan Ige, going with the experience, big fight, and higher level of competition for him to pick one up over Damon Jackson. Then in the main event, got to pick the main event. I'm going with Nassourdine Imavov. I think Sean Strickland is maybe biting off a little bit more than he can chew, or than he thinks he can chew. I think he's probably got the same mindset of the matchmakers in Vegas, which is I fought a lot of other better top competition. This guy's new and coming up. I should be able to beat him, and I'm not hurt. So I'm going to go with Nassourdine. I think he's going to probably pick apart and follow a similar game plan to Jared Cannonier. I think he's going to throw good leg kicks. I think he's going to be rangy. I don't know that he'll finish Sean Strickland, but I do think he's going to get the win. So those are our picks. Hopefully we start the year off right.